Hi science friends, it's Miss Erin with another science lesson for this week. I had a request for a lesson about this little baggie right here over my shoulder that has the water cycle written on it. This is a great lesson, and I'll talk to you about that water cycle baggie and some activity that we can do at the end of the lesson. So water cycle is sometimes a part that we put into our weather and spring lesson, but I didn't want to make it too long and I really wanted to spend some time on individual parts of the water cycle. So let's get into the water cycle. Let's think about a cycle, meaning that it's continuous. It goes over and over and over. Just so you know, and you can understand this better, there is no new water made. You can't make new water. So if you think about that, you are actually brushing your teeth with the same water, in theory, that the dinosaurs used to get a drink or take a swim in hundreds of millions of years ago. And I think that's a pretty cool concept, even though it's hard to grasp. So you brushed your teeth this morning and tonight, hopefully, with the same water that the dinosaurs maybe brushed their teeth with. Isn't that cool? I think that's pretty neat. So let's talk about this water cycle. And it's an over and over use of this water. So we have to start somewhere. So I'm just going to pick something that's happening today. We are actually having some water come out from the clouds above. And it can be water in the many forms, 4 forms to be exactly, and they're kind of naming a 5th, and I'll briefly mention it. But it's actually called a big science word called precipitation. Precipitation. And what this means is water from the sky. Precipitation, big science word. Now, we can have precipitation in 4 ways. One, today, we're having that rain come out of the sky, and it comes in the shape of a drop form. I've got a picture here to show you. So here's some rain coming down, and it's splattering, but it's wet. It's like water coming out of the faucet. It's totally wet, okay? The second type of water from the sky that's temperature dependent is we can talk about, sometimes we like to play in the white snow. Now, some of my science friends that have been with me before know that snowflakes have a special shape. A 6-sided polygon called a hexagon. And all of these shapes are unique depending upon the conditions, but they get this shape like a snowflake, right? When they fall down from the sky, depending upon humidity and wind speed and temperature and pressure, these arms grow and cause different shapes. Every snowflake is different. We all know that. And you can Google some really cool images that people have taken with snowflakes in frozen rooms with microscopes. But if you count the arms on these pictures, they all have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're coming out of the middle hexagon. 6 corners. And each corner grows the arm. So there's your snow, the second most common. And I did hear on the news today that up in the mountains, and I'm in North Carolina, up in the mountains, they were seeing some snow flurries. So depending upon the temperature of the air as the water's falling, it could freeze and become a snowflake. Now, it's not going to stay on the ground and allow us to ski and have fun in it, but it's still kind of pretty. The third type of water that can come out of the sky might also happen when it's cooler out. I've got to erase my board here to make some room. The third type we don't see a lot, but we do see sometimes, and it's called sleet. And sleet is kind of like a sheet of icy water that comes down. It's not completely frozen snowflake, and it's not a completely melted snowflake either. It's kind of like a straight line. And I've got some pictures to show you of some sleet. Now, we think about sleet. You can look at this picture of this poor guy caught in the sleet storm. You can see the sleet coming down on him. We can also tell that it happens when it's colder because we've already got some snow and he's bundled up. So sleet is the third type of precipitation that can come from the clouds. Temperature dependent, okay? Now, they have started a discussion about the difference between graupel and sleet. This will be the new one that we have to learn about. And graupel is a little bit of snow pellets. It's kind of like a melting It's white and soft, and it's more crumbly, but it does resemble snow. It doesn't have the shape, okay? So a little different. So graupel is a new one for me as well. So we're learning about that. All right, so that's our rain, snow, sleet, a little bit about graupel. And the last one that we need to know about that comes out of the sky comes during thunderstorms, and this is hail. And hail is a ball of ice. So a round ball of ice can be anywhere from a very, very small salt, piece of salt, up to a baseball they've had on recording about that big. And I've got a picture of hail during thunderstorms. This is hail, and it's coming, and it bounces when it lands. It's a solid piece of ice, does damage to windows and cars. I think it would hurt if it hit you on the head. So this is one of the reasons we've got to get out of the way when we hear about thunderstorms. And the reason these things happen is we get changes in the air that cause us to have temperatures giving us different types of precipitation. So if we just had rain, we've got temperatures above 32 degrees above and below our line in the cloud. If we have sleet, it's going to fall, and then it's going to get some air that causes it to change. If we get our hail, it's unstable within the cloud. We've got a line that shows a difference in the cloud. And if we have snow, it's lower than 32 degrees, right? So we get that hexagon snowflake falling, okay? So that's a nice little graphic to show us about that. So let's talk, now that we've talked about the 4 ways that precipitation can fall from the sky, we need to think about that precipitation. It's needed by plants, needed by my garden to give me yummy foods. It's needed by humans. We like water. Animals, plants, everybody needs water. And Earth is the only planet that has it right now. And so water and precipitation is very important. Again, no new water, same water over and over and over for hundreds of millions of years, which is a really neat theory, right? So let's talk about what happens to that water. We get that water that precipitates from the sky and comes down, right? And then it becomes lakes, rivers, water for plants, water for animals. And we like to see that water pooling in our lakes and rivers and creeks. And then, like I put a pot on the stove and I turn on the heat. Think about what happens above that pot. Do you see anything coming out of the pot when it gets hot? You actually are. You are seeing evaporation, okay? Evaporation is another term for our water cycle. So we have those lakes and streams and creeks and puddles of water, and we get some evaporation. And it happens on the stove because I've applied heat, right? But outside, how do I apply heat outside? I use that beautiful star in the sky, our sun, and it causes things to warm up, and it heats it up, and it causes the liquid, or even the frozen thing if it's frozen water, to melt and kind of evaporate, and it floats up in the sky. Right? We get that evaporation going up in the sky. And as it goes up in the sky, the next step of the water cycle starts happening. We get condensation. Condensation is another part of the water cycle. So condensation is the 3rd step in the water cycle. This is the part where our water vapor, which has evaporated, goes up in the sky, and because it's a little unstable up in the air, colder, it changes. Now, I want you to think about this. Have you ever had a hot day? This weekend it was hot, and I worked outside in my garden, and I needed a nice drink. So I came in, and I got a glass, and I put some ice in it and some water, and I took it outside. What do you think happened on the outside of my glass? There was some water forming on the outside of my glass. That's condensation. You cause that liquid water to change and kind of come back into its form. Now, you can also see this if you wear glasses. I wore my glasses today, giving my eyes a rest. If I'm in the air conditioning, and I go outside where it's hot, what happens to my glasses? They get foggy, don't they? It's hard to see. That's condensation on my glasses. I don't have them with water on them when I go outside, but just because there's enough water vapor in the air that I can't really see, and I go outside, it warms it and cools it and changes it. You might also get this on your windows if you have the air conditioning running, or if you notice a fog early in the morning when you're driving around with your parents. So condensation is around us a lot. It's hard to understand, but it is an important part of the water cycle. So we have that evaporated water that gets warmed by our sun and goes up in the sky. But up in the sky, it doesn't have a glass or glasses to cling onto, so they come together and they make a cloud. We've seen clouds in the sky, and they're up there, and we know that they're up there. But when a lot of clouds get together, that water gets heavy because it changes from that water vapor, which is light and airy, to water droplets, which come together and they get heavy. And then guess what happens? They can't hold it anymore, and it lets water go. Depending upon the temperature around us and the temperature in the clouds in the sky, we can have that rain, most common, snow if it's cold, sleet kind of in between, graupel, which is a new one, kind of changes as it goes, and hail during a thunderstorm. These are the 4 ways that it can come in the water cycle out as precipitation, okay? So I'm going to show you a couple of tricks to do, a couple of things that you can do to have around to check out. One of them involves kind of my little baggie. Now, these are really cute, and one of my friends found them and told me about them. They're actually from the Target bullseye section. I ordered them online. They're really, really cute. They're well done. They're already drawn on. There's a space for your name, and they come with the 2 hooks, the suction hooks. I've been doing it for years with classes just by using a Ziploc or a zip type top baggie and drawing with a Sharpie. Now, drawing with a Sharpie on your baggie, it snags a little bit, so you don't want to press really hard, but what you want to draw is be sure you can see it here. You want to draw a cloud, a sun, a tree, and some land, kind of like water. And what I like to add is that there's some arrows. So you want to draw some arrows showing each step of the water cycle, kind of making a circle. So I drew an arrow from my supposed collection of water below, lakes, streams, evaporating up to the clouds, precipitating down, and you want to show it kind of in a circle. And what you can do with this is you open your little baggie, you put in a little bit of water. If you want to get fancy, you could put some rocks in there, just a little bit, and that's all the water you need. It's definitely not much. You want to make sure that you seal the baggie. Doesn't matter if you get the air out of it or not. You're going to take a piece of tape and you're going to tape it up. Now, I don't know if you can see it on my bag that I did. Let me see if you can see it. The bag from the other day, it was really sunny the other day, and I can see a little cloud in there. Can you see it right there? If I tap it, it might go away. But it's sealed, and it got warmed up by the sun, and it made a little water vapor cloud up there. And it will eventually start gathering and get too heavy and fall back down. So I'm not going to lose any water out of that bag. It's just going to go around and change its little state of matter that it's in. So that's one way you can do it. You can kind of get fancy and draw on your baggie all the parts if you want. But I just think having a sun, a little part that represents water on the ground like a lake or a river, and maybe a tree to show life, and a cloud, and some arrows to point around. You can talk about each of the words as you write it down with your parent or your friend. Evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. And think about those 4, maybe 5 kinds of precipitation you can have. The other activity I find is really cool, and some of my friends have already done this with me this year in class, but I think it's so fun and entertaining that you guys might like to do it at home. And here's what you need to do it. You need a clear, kind of larger glass. I put water in there. I need some shaving cream. I need some food coloring. Now I need primary colors, red, blue, and yellow. So those are the only 3 colors we need. And you need 3 little cups, and you need to make 1 for red, 1 for yellow, and 1 for blue. If you only have 1 color, just do 1 color at least. But if you want to mix the colors, which is really cool, you might like to do that. Now, I use these. These are awesome. They're like 5 cents at a local store. I don't know if you can get them now, if you can't, but these are little pipettes. These are wonderful. I have these everywhere, and my kids know how to use these too. But if you don't have that and you happen to have a straw around, we can use this. So we can use this to get it done, and you'll be kind of the same idea, all right, using this. So I'm going to show you what else I've used. I also grabbed a little magnifying glass so that we can inspect our what we're going to do here in a second. So what I would recommend that you do is you have a little, you can see my little area here. You have a little space. You take your water, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust my screen here so that y'all can see what I'm doing. I'm going to make my little shaving cream cloud. Now, the shaving cream is going to come out, and you just want it to be on the top. Just a layer on the top. It doesn't take a whole lot. And it's okay if you run out, all right? So I've got my little shaving cream cloud on there. That's going to represent my cloud. And underneath it, let me go even lower. So underneath my cloud is clear. If I want to look, I can come down and look beneath the cloud, and it's clear, right? But I can see the cloud here. So what you want to do, I'll show you the 2 different ways we can do this. So I'm going to use the pipette, and I'm going to use my red water. We squeeze the bubble, we let go of the bubble, and we pull up our red liquid. If I just start dropping, can you see me dropping red on the cloud? Nothing's happening. Remember, my cloud can hold some water. But if I keep going and really overweigh the cloud, are you guys noticing anything that's starting to happen below the cloud? Cloud's getting heavy. What happens when our clouds get heavy? Look underneath. You can start to see it's still really there, but it's heavy. And if I keep going and adding, and if you have these pipettes, sometimes you can really shoot it in there, and sometimes you can just drop it in. And you can start to see some things happen below. I'm going to change colors just so you can see what happens. Now this one I'll do if you have the straw. So if you have the straw, you put the straw in and just put your finger on the top and kind of hold it and pull it over. It's not perfect, but it works. So now we're going to get some different colors in there. Okay? So again, we're dropping our colors in there. Oh my goodness. Let's take a break and look under my cloud. I'm starting to see something happen over here. Let's see if it keeps going. So we keep adding and adding. And I'm going to change colors again. Again, I'm red, yellow, and blue are primary colors. You can see if you get a rainbow because I only had red, yellow, and blue, but I might make some green. I might make some orange. I'm really starting to notice that cloud looks really heavy, doesn't it? Plus, it's really pretty up on top too. It kind of looks like delicious ice cream, even though we know it's not. But we get these. Oh, are you guys starting to see what's happening below? I'm starting to notice some raindrops coming down, some precipitation. Let me go back to my red. So take your time, explore, and have fun making your rain clouds. And see if you can catch. Let's see if I can get this to show you. Your raindrops. See if I can get this to show you. Can you see the raindrops coming down? As I turn it, can you see them? There's raindrops coming down under the clouds because that cloud is heavy. And that's our precipitation. So just keep going. It gets really pretty. Have fun with it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I look forward to seeing you again next time. Have fun, be safe, and remember, science is everywhere. Bye, guys.